this is a video description of the continued portion of the specific warm-up. So we've already gone through our step one, self-myofascial release, SFMR portion of the warm-up. We've already gone through our generalized warm-up, which is the 5 to 10 minutes of any conditioning piece to get your heart rate elevated, get your body ready to work. Then we've gone through our neuromuscular warm-up, whether that's agility drills or some sort of jumping or preparation drills. Now we're going to go into our specific portion of the warm-up, which is the most specific to our strength portion of the lift. So I'm going to demonstrate a specific warm-up for a hex bar deadlift, trap bar deadlift. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my gym aware equipment because we're going to be using VBT for our strength training portions. So I'm going to get a matching iPad. So I have iPad number 1 to my gym aware unit, which is gym aware unit number 1. I'll go onto my gym aware system, and at the bottom portion, we have to connect our tether. So how we connect our tether is we come over to our gym aware portion, and I'm going to pull up straight on my tether. And that's going to wake up the unit, and it'll connect, it'll make a beeping sound, and it'll say power tool connected. At that portion, I'm going to say I'm at 0 because it's at 0. From there, I'm going to select my athlete, my name, and then I'm going to select what lift I'm doing. After that, I'll update my bar load, and I don't have a desired rep range or speed range to go to yet, so I'm not going to update that at this time. So I'll set up my gym aware on the barbell for the trap bar. And at that time, I can go ahead and hit the first set of my specific warm-up. I'll start with a light set of 8. I'm going to take very small, consistent jumps during my specific warm-up, getting closer and closer to my specified workload for the day. If my specified workload for the day is 0.5 meters per second, I'll take consistent jumps up to what I believe to be 0.5 meters per second on my trap bar deadlift. So when that happens is we need to make sure that our bar load is always updated before we start our set. So my bar load, I'll update. I'm gonna do how many sets I'm gonna do, update this on the gym aware only once I start my working sets. My rep range is gonna be updated as well at the same time as I update my sets. So I'm not gonna worry about that at this time. For my speed, I'm gonna be working up to what I think is gonna be appropriate for 0.5 meters per second. So I'm just gonna update my goal speed at this time so that I always know where I'm at for that day. And that's how we're gonna do the auto-regulation approach. So for this, I'm gonna update, I'll go to my athlete, and I'm gonna update my target speed is 0.5 meters per second, and I wanna always be within 10%. So we're gonna enter in 90, because that's 10% below 100%. And I'll make sure I hit that auto record button so that it's prepared whenever I'm gonna start my lift. So now it's ready to lift. When that lift is complete, I can see what speed I hit for all 3 reps. To finish this specific warm-up, I will just continue increasing my load up until I reach my desired speed. So if my desired speed is 0.5 meters per second, I'll continue with my consistent jumps on increases in load as I approach 0.5 meters per second. So on the day 3 strength test, it has you working up to 1 set of 3 at above 0.3 meters per second, but we want to get as close as possible to that load, to that speed at 0.3 meters per second. I want all 3 reps to be within that 10% range of 0.3 meters per second in order for it to be a successful set. They all need to be within the blue range on your gym aware iPad. So for this, I'm still going through finding out what's the appropriate load for my top set of 3. So for those 3 reps, I went 0.58, 0.69, and 0.60. So clearly, we still have a lot of room for an increase in load. I'm gonna continue to increase and track every set until I reach that 0.3 meters per second rep range. Here's gonna be that next set, again, as I continue to progress towards that 0.3 meters per second velocity range. And that rep was done at 0.55 meters per second. So again, I still have plenty of room to continue to increase in load as I get closer to that 0.3 meters per second range. So this is gonna be my next weight as I approach that 3 rep max at 0.3 meters per second. That repetition was done at 0.39 meters per second. So that means that I'm pretty close to that goal velocity range. So that means that on this next set, I'm gonna complete my 3 reps because I think I'm gonna be able to select the correct load to get me in that desired range. Everything else is ready to roll. So I'm gonna attempt 3 reps here, all within that 10% target. So my 3 reps there went 0.4, 0.35, and 0.39. So I'm still above that 0.3 meters per second target. So if I feel like I want to continue and complete another set, I have cleared that target range, which means that I could increase load. I'm gonna increase in load one more time and see if I can hit my desired velocity range. So my last 3 reps were at 0.34, 0.32, and 0.32. So that means that I'm within that range and I'm close enough and I'm gonna call it there.